So Milwaukee just released the new red lithium forge here, pouch cell battery. Now I thought today we'd take a look at charging times compared to the competition and also voltage drop. One thing you will note, claimed charging time to 80% is 15 minutes and then 25 minutes to 100%. I do like this new ranking here they came out with for power levels depending on what battery you buy, just kind of giving you some indication of is it the highest performance you're going to gain out of that tool using that battery pack. So here, this one is marked at power level 4, so definitely they are planning on higher performance in the future. I do also want to compare the 40 volt Makita here using traditional cells. We'll see how this performs on the rapid charger of theirs compared to these pouch cells. So I'll go ahead and drain these down and we'll get them on the charger and see how they perform. When we talk about charge time, it's interesting that Flex actually wins this. Now, yes, the 3.5 amp hour is a lower watt hour, but when we look at the 6 amp hour Flex, it actually charged faster than the 5 amp hour Cat, the new M18 Forge, and of course the standard 40 volt Makita. And the DeWalt here coming in last, which to me really is because of the charger. So I did take the watt hours divided by the charge time here. So basically this gives us how many watt hours per minute, with the higher being better. So when we look at that runtime, yeah, pretty much what you would expect with the 5 amp hours, around an hour there at 5 amps, with the Milwaukee being a 6 amp hour at an hour and 12 minutes, 46 minutes for the 3.5 amp hour Flex, and then 1 hour and 17 minutes for the 6 amp hour Flex. So when we look at voltage drop under a 30 amp load, again, 30 amp load for 20 volt batteries, and then 25 amp load for 24 volt batteries, because we do have to consider the higher voltage, which means less amperage. It does make it challenging here to look at the Flex versus the Cat, DeWalt, and Milwaukee. But more importantly here, we want to see how the voltage is comparable between DeWalt and Milwaukee. And the drop is pretty much the same actually, which is interesting. So here's some additional data. Of course, how much the battery weighs and some specs on dimensions. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the internals a little bit here. So we have the Forge, the DeWalt, Flex, and Cat. Definitely totally different designs here across the board. I'm not a huge fan of using ribbons. They do have ribbons on here. I'm not gonna rip it apart any farther. It's pretty straightforward. You're gonna have pouch cells internally. I've said before on the DeWalt, I definitely do like that the board has a coating over it here. Here with the Flex, definitely looks heavy duty there with the wiring. And we have the Cat, which the board is sealed up pretty good. So here you have it. We put the new Milwaukee there through the paces. About what we would expect there, especially considering the claims. Again, voltage drop very similar here to the DeWalt. Yes, it's about spec there on the charging speed, but I hate to say it, it's not the fastest on the market, at least from my testing. With again, the Caterpillar beating it, and surprisingly, the Flex. Definitely when you consider that, yeah, this is a 6 amp hour battery, but actually you really need to take a look at watt hours because it's 24 volts. And overall, the size is a little bigger, but again, you got to consider the watt hours. Now with all the chargers laying out here in front of me, yeah, the DeWalt charger is the smallest, does have a little bit of fan cooling there, but the battery here doesn't have any ports on it. Hopefully at some point we get a higher amp charger. Cat, yeah, definitely pretty good performance, quite a big charger. No cooling there for the battery. Milwaukee supercharger, no cooling for the battery. Flex supercharger, does have a little bit of cooling here for the battery, which corresponds to the ports here actually on the batteries. Now another thing to point out is if you do have like a Power Wheels you're powering, you're not going to be able to use the DeWalt 5 amp hour power stack on that because it needs communication to the tool. Whereas I didn't have any issue with the Milwaukee here while I was load testing it without an actual tool connected. So definitely a benefit if you're looking between these two, and quite a bit faster charging versus the DeWalt right now with the charger they offer. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to right now give it to Flex, in my opinion, fastest charging. They do offer a smaller version with the 3.5 and then also the larger 10 amp hour power stack. But yeah, overall, Milwaukee definitely needed this, so it's good to see this. And hopefully we can get higher amp hour versions in the future. Hopefully you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.